Hey folks, what's going on? Coach Gav here, Kildare Strength Fitness. Happy New Year, Happy New Year's Day. I hope you all had a safe and enjoyable evening last night celebrating. I had a rather rock and roll experience. I was in bed by 10:30, 11 o'clock. It was wild. But, excuse me, so before kind of we all get going and start setting resolutions, and myself included, I kind of will use kind of like maybe a week or 10 days to kind of map out what I'm looking to achieve over the year as a whole, but also over the first 90 days of the year. And then I can break it down and it gives me actionable steps and plans, so I have something to stick to, so that in 2-3 weeks time, when kind of my motivation or the honeymoon period of the new year wears off, I realise what I'm committed to. It also means I'm not making plans by kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. And we've all done knee-jerk reactions before. Most of the times we do it in a conversation, in the heat of the moment, we say something or we do something and we later regret it. And most New Year's resolutions, the approach to setting most New Year's resolutions is like a knee-jerk reaction. We've been stuffing ourselves with food and booze and sugary food and rich foods, and we've been particularly lazy, and we've been out of a routine for the last week, 10 days, maybe a little more. And there's nothing particularly wrong with that, but what the danger with that is that it means we end up setting our resolutions based on how we feel temporarily. And then, like I said yesterday, what if for the first week of the year, what if between now and next Tuesday, we just got active a bit more? Like we got 7 in a row. So like we discussed yesterday, the daily 3. What if you scored your daily 3 for 7 days? And then next week, after you got back into your routine, okay, or even some of you guys with kids, what if you, because the kids go back to school next week, so your routine you'll get a fairer reflection then. But what if we wait till maybe the 14th or the 15th of January to set the resolutions, to set the goals, because we'll have a better grasp of what's actually going on and what actually matters to us. So I'm going to keep this one relatively short today. Before we go quitting anything today, I want to kind of show you behind the scenes, pull back the curtain, let you see what actually goes on and works here. So I'm going to flip it onto the whiteboard. Perfect, worked easy. So when you go to quit something, quitting X does not equal that X is the problem. So a lot of people are going to do the whole, I'm giving up bread, giving up booze, giving up chocolate, giving up whatever. Giving up that food doesn't mean that, like, let's say you give up bread. Bread's everyone's favorite. Bread or booze are probably the two big ones, okay? Everyone's like, oh, I gave up bread and I lost all this weight. That doesn't mean bread's the fucking issue, okay? It means that you over-consumed bread a lot. So when you removed bread, you removed the calories. No, you removed the overconsumption, and then you removed those calories through overconsumption. If you overconsume like anything at all, you're going to gain weight. It's going to be a problem. Now, for stuff like veggies and meats, it's going to be a lot harder to overconsume because they're more calorie dense. You're going to feel fuller quicker. The reason why it's so easy to overconsume on bread, alcohol, sugar, refined foods is that they're quite nutrient. What's the opposite of dense? Dim, you could say. They're quite light and they're nutrient poor. They're not very filling. So you'll fly through them. You'll scoff them and be like, fuck, I'm still hungry. So you'll have more and more, and then you'll gradually overconsume. All right. So it's when you go to quit something that don't fall into the trap that, oh, bread's the devil. It's not. Bread's not the devil. Booze isn't the devil. Sugar's not the devil. Okay. Like, just don't fall into that trap that thinking that when you give up something that was the problem. Okay, it wasn't. All right, let me flip it back. So especially when it comes to nutrition, right? Anything nutritionally that works, I've definitely spelled that wrong, but it is. Anything nutritionally that works, it's because there was a calorie deficit. So when you lose weight, when you lose fat, it's because of a calorie deficit. You had more going out of your body than you had coming in. So you're burning more calories than you're consuming. Calorie deficit. That's the only reason why we lose weight. period, is that we have stayed in a state of a calorie deficit for a long enough period of time. Now, nutrition is like an onion. There's many, many layers to this, and we need to, just wave at one of the neighbours, there's many layers to this, and we will kind of peel them back so you have all the pieces of the puzzle here. Actually, yeah, it's like a puzzle, okay? And I'm giving you like a couple of the basic pieces here. We're giving you the framework, but to truly understand it and for you to not fall into the trap of all this bullshit marketing that a lot of weight loss groups and a lot of supplements and all that kind of stuff will do. That's what I want to do. So first things first, quitting any particular food or anything at all, it doesn't mean that was the problem. So don't go fucking slandering it. Don't be giving bread a bad name, all right? Or booze or any of that kind of stuff, right? Any changes you see nutritionally is because you're in a calorie deficit. Simple as that. Doesn't matter. Like, I know that there's way more famous trainers and with a greater reach than me and that kind of stuff that'll say different things. The science and the results cannot be argued with, okay? At a certain point, people sell out, but that's a fucking different discussion altogether. But please, 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 if you're following this page, it's a calorie fucking deficit. That's the only reason why. It works for me, works for you, works for everyone in the world, okay? We burn more calories than we take on board, all right? Next up, nutrition. Any other changes? It's because you're improving your choices, you're improving your habits, and there is consistency. These 4 things here are what will make the difference for you, for your weight, for your shape, for your health in 2019. You want to lose weight and you mean a calorie deficit, okay? That most likely will mean making better choices. That most likely will mean improving your habits, and it absolutely will mean being consistent with whatever you decide to do. It does not mean that giving up X is the be all and end all. Okay, you might have a neighbor or a family member or a co-worker that gives up something, and they're like, "Oh, I gave up this, and it worked for them." Just because it works for them doesn't mean it works for you. All right. I'm not a particularly big drinker, so me giving up booze isn't going to be a really big deal. It's not going to make a massive difference to my overall plan. But if someone was big into booze and they give up booze, fine. But I would be a wicked sweet tooth. So I mean, for me to reduce the amount of sugar I consume, that will definitely have a big effect on things, all right? Now, that's actually something, so in terms of kind of, well, what am I doing myself? I'm reducing my consumption of things. That's a light. I'm reducing my consumption. I'm not eliminating anything. I'm not removing it fully. I know I need to improve things. I need to add on more stuff. So that's me personally, that's where I'm going. The first thing today is I want to add in more stuff, add in more veggies, add in more kind of meats and that and fish and that kind of stuff. And then by default of adding in more stuff, I'm going to fill myself up. So those parts of the day when I'm feeling peckish and I'm just doing like toast or sandwiches or that kind of stuff, I'm making better choices and putting better foods in my body. It's going to fuel me better, and I'm going to stop looking. So you see I'm quite puffy in the face. I'm going to stop looking. Next up, approach X works for them. It doesn't mean, it does not equal that it's right for you. Head if I stood back a bit, wouldn't it? So there are the 2 points from today. Quitting X doesn't mean that X is the problem, and approach X works for them. It does not mean that it's right for you. The reason why approach X will work is there's accountability, there's consistency, there's fear. All you need to do is move more, okay? So there are the reasons why things work here. We have accountability, we have consistency, we have fear of failure, and also there's probably fear of not getting value for money. And then also, people are winning here just because we're moving more, we're far more consistent, okay? You notice I keep saying that C word over and over again. Just be consistent with what you're doing. Just get out and get going. I'm not really anti, like, weight loss groups or weight management groups or anything. I do believe that at the start, if it means people go and join a group because it gets them going, in the short term, that's fine. Long term, it doesn't work. And I don't care what anyone says. 12 years at this, I've seen it. I've seen hundreds, thousands of people. Long term, you have to change your habits. You have to make better choices. You have to be somewhat independent. And the reason why weight loss groups work is because, when they give you, it's not that like Weight Watchers or Slimming World or Unislim or any of those groups. Not like that, any of those groups, and even the ones pushing supplements, Herbalife, Juice Plus, System 10, all this bullshit. The reason why any of those things work is because nutritionally they put you in a calorie deficit. Okay, so you're consuming less, so already you're not taking on as much. All right. The other reason why is, like I said, just there is accountability and consistency. Most of the time, if you're going and joining those groups, it's because you lack accountability, you lack structure, you lack consistency in your day-to-day habits. And when you go and join these groups, you then all of a sudden you have consistency, you have a system, you have accountability, you have a framework. So if you just built your own framework and accountability and was consistent with it, you'd achieve far greater results in a far more enjoyable, pleasurable manner. Like, that's something that, like, and again, I'm not saying don't join them, join here, because even like for people that train here, like what we do will work for them. What we do doesn't work for everyone, and how I coach doesn't work for everyone. And I've learned, and we're fine with that. But again, we'll certainly give our best and help and try. But so before you go setting your plans today, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Don't just go assuming that quitting one particular thing means that one particular thing was the problem. Okay, because then you end up with this stigma that, I can't have bread anymore because when I had bread was a problem. It's not the fucking problem. Or that when you go, I joined Slimming World, and I joined Weight Watchers, or I joined whatever else, that solved all my problems, so I'm going to go back there. So it's not, joining them didn't solve your fucking problems. You had consistency and accountability, and you had a support network, and you had routine, and you fucking just put in the work. So if you just do that yourself, problem solved. But the other problem is that people are lazy, and we don't like having to put in a bit of effort to piece together our own routines then as well. All right, folks, that is it. Happy New Year's. We're probably going to do a live video again tomorrow, just kind of while we're on our roll, to give you guys as much of a base or a platform to get going with it. All right, take it easy, guys. God bless.